fiercest guys. James. Oh my! Wow!
This video will change your view on LeBron James forever. LeBron James is one of the few names that needs no introduction. He is arguably one of the best basketball players that the world has ever seen. When you check the list of his achievements, it becomes hard not to compare him with some of the greatest legends that have ever played the game. However, beyond his fame and excellent playing skills on the court, his journey to becoming the greatest of all time has not been easy. LeBron James was born on December 30th, 1984 in Akron, Ohio, but he didn't grow up like most regular kids. His mother, Gloria Marie James, was just 16 at the time, and his father, Anthony McClelland, who has an extensive criminal record, didn't want anything to do with them. Gloria and the young child lived with her mother and grandmother, but things became worse when she lost both of them in the same year. It became difficult for her to pay the bills because she didn't have a steady job. Therefore, the young mother and her kid moved from the apartment to apartment, living with friends or family members who would have them. Although Gloria didn't have much, she tried her best to provide for her son. However, because she wasn't always around, James would skip school to play video games at home. This became a habit, and he missed almost 100 days of school at the time. The turning point in life of James came one evening when he was playing with his friends. A football coach, Bruce Kelker, walked up to the young boys and told them he needed a new player for his team. Kelker asked, "You guys like football?" And James replied, "That's my favorite sport." The coach needed to be sure, so he asked the young boys to line up for a foot race, 100 yards across the parking lot. He also told them the winner would become his running back, and James won by 15 yards. Kelker told the 9-year-old James where to meet for the team's practice, but Gloria couldn't afford to pay for her son's equipment. When Kelker found out, he offered to take care of everything and even picked them up for practice. However, Gloria and her son still didn't have a place to live, and Kelker, who was frustrated trying to figure out the new place they had moved to, invited the two of them to live in his home. That was the first time in James's life that he had a stable home. Although James had no experience playing football until Kelker invited him, he soon became one of the best kids, and he scored 17 touchdowns in a season. Because of his agility and unusual skills, opposing coaches and parents started complaining that James was older than the other kids were and demanded to see his birth certificate. James tried to blend in by hunching over in the huddle, but Kelker told him to stand tall, be proud, because he's never going to blend in, and that can be a good thing. After a few months with Kelker, it was time for Gloria and James to move again. Kelker's girlfriend was no longer comfortable having James and his mother living with them. Gloria didn't want to see her child go through the struggles of living in different places within a very short time, so she considered sending him to stay with relatives in a different state. However, she got a better offer from Frank Walker, a colleague of Kelker, who invited James to move in with his family. The Walker family became one of the most important people in James's life. They introduced him to basketball when he was 9 years old. Although James's performance was very terrible at first, Walker noticed that he had some inter skills, so he started training him how to play basketball. At a time, he made him play one-on-one with one of his sons, and he lost 21-7 to Frankie Walker Jr. James had what he would later describe as his first real family when he moved in with the Walkers. He shared the same room with Frankie Walker Jr., and the two later became best friends and football teammates. In his 5th grade, James was already unstoppable, and he began playing organized basketball for the Northeast Ohio Shooting Stars. The team enjoyed unprecedented success on the local and national level, and James quickly became popular in the town. He and a group of friends who dubbed themselves the Fab Four decided to attend the same high school, and he played both basketball and football at St. Vincent St. Mary High School. At high school, James and his friends joined the basketball team and led the team to a perfect 27-0 record. He was already 6'3", and he averaged 21 points and 6 rebounds per game, even as a freshman. As a sophomore, James had greatly improved, and his average point per game had increased to 25.2, with 7.2 rebounds, 5.8 assists, and 3.8 steals per game. James didn't forget his love for football in high school. He played wide receiver for the school team and even led them to the state semifinals. However, he stopped playing in his junior year after sustaining a wrist injury. Although he stopped playing football, some sports analysts believed that he could have played in the National Football League should he have continued with football. Now, let's get back to how LeBron James became one of the best basketball players in the world today. As he continued to play basketball for the school team, stories of his skills began to spread like wildfire, and more people wanted to watch St. Vincent St. Mary basketball team play. At a point, they had to use the University of Akron Stadium to satisfy ticket demand from a multitude of people who wanted to see the young star play. James's reputation quickly grew, and he became the first sophomore to be named Ohio Mr. Basketball, and he was selected to the USA Today All-USA First Team in the same year. His popularity increased after he was featured in Slam, an American basketball magazine, and Ryan Jones described him as the best high school basketball player in America. Words of him began to spread throughout the entire country. He was described as the kid who would possibly become the next NBA star. In his senior year, he would travel around the country where more people saw him play. On December 12, 2002, he had his first national TV game in high school against the Oak Hill Academy. Although the Oak Hill Academy was ranked as #1 in the country, the spotlight was on young James, who scored 31 points and played like a professional NBA player during the game. At this point, it was obvious that James would become the first pick in the NBA draft. At the end of his high school, James was perhaps the most popular high school kid in America. Thousands of people paid to watch him play, including some NBA stars. In 2003, James had to decide whether to attend college or enter the 2003 NBA draft. He decided to enter the draft, and the first pick was awarded to his hometown, Cleveland Cavaliers, and he was selected as the first overall pick. Upon entering the NBA, James immediately became a superstar and was voted the Rookie of the Year in his debut season. LeBron James's rise to stardom has been filled with many obstacles. He was raised without a father, and he had to endure the hardship of moving from one apartment to another because they couldn't afford a place to live. He has made a name for himself, and he's going to be remembered forever as one of the greatest basketball players that the world has ever seen. Thank you for watching this video. Let us know which of these is your opinion about LeBron James in the comments below.